This presentation will review the 2025 migratory game bird hunting season and bag limit recommendations. Waterfowl are migratory in nature and managed by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service with input from the states and stakeholders. There are 4 flyways in the United States, with Vermont being in the Atlantic Flyway, which is made up of the eastern states and provinces. We understand waterfowl populations through a series of breeding surveys that provide the best estimate of waterfowl abundance. There are 2 main survey areas in eastern North America: the Atlantic Flyway Breeding Waterfowl Survey Area, which stretches from New Hampshire down to Virginia and is done by foot, and the Eastern Survey Area, or the Traditional Survey Area, which is done by air in Maine and the eastern provinces. Duck breeding populations in the eastern survey areas. 2024 breeding habitat conditions range from fair to excellent. Mallard breeding population in the Atlantic Flyway decreased by 4% from 2023 and remains 9% below the long-term average. Total duck breeding population estimate increased by 5% from 2023 and is 4% below the long-term average in the traditional survey area. For Vermont waterfowl production in 2024, banding efforts and survey results indicated that resident goose population was stable. Overall duck production was good, with good brood rearing cover in early spring, heavy rains in the midsummer that turned to drought in the late summer and early fall. Fall duck banding was successful at 4 banding sites with over 1,300 new bands deployed. There are 3 Canada goose subpopulations in the Atlantic Flyway that use Vermont. These populations are the Atlantic population, which nests up on the Ungava Peninsula and migrates through Vermont, the North Atlantic population, which nests in Labrador and Newfoundland and migrates through the Connecticut River Valley and New Hampshire, and then the resident population, which is all Canada geese that breed south of central Quebec and Ontario. The Atlantic population of Canada geese declined to 89,000 breeding pairs, which triggered a restrictive package. There are 3 main ways that we estimate hunter harvest: the Harvest Information Program, which everyone who hunts waterfowl or migratory game birds is required to fill out; the Parts Collection Survey, which asks a subset of hunters to submit wings of ducks and tail feathers of geese; and the Hunter Diary, which another subset of hunters is asked to fill out, which documents the hours spent hunting, the days spent hunting, and how many birds they killed. In 2023, Vermont had an estimated 3,600 active duck hunters that harvested an average of 7.2 birds per hunter. Vermont plans to continue offering 2 controlled hunt areas, one at Mud Creek and one at Dead Creek. Vermont has 3 waterfowl hunting zones: the Lake Champlain Zone, which is shared with New York and set by Vermont; the Interior Vermont Zone, which is entirely within Vermont and set by Vermont; and the Connecticut River Zone, which is shared with New Hampshire and set by New Hampshire. In a few slides, we will go over the 2025 hunting season and bag limit recommendations. In 2024, we conducted a waterfowl hunter survey that included 807 Vermont and New York waterfowl hunters across all ages and experience levels. Woodcock, the federal framework allows for 45 days between September 13th and January 31st with a daily bag limit of 3 per day. Our recommendation is to hold the season for 45 days from September 27th to November 10th with a daily bag limit of 3 per day. For snipe, we are allowed 107 days between September 1st and January 31st with a daily bag limit of 8 per day. Our recommendation is to have the season mirror the woodcock season at 45 days between September 27th and November 10th with a daily bag limit of 8 per day. September early resident Canada goose hunting season, the federal framework allows for 25 days between September 1st and the 25th with a daily limit of 15. Our recommendation is to hold the season for 25 days between September 1st and the 25th with a daily bag limit of 8 per day in the Lake Champlain and interior Vermont zones. Migratory Atlantic population Canada goose hunting season. The federal framework allows for 30 days between October 10th and February 5th and 1 bird per day. Our recommendation is to hold the season for 30 days between October 11th and November 9th with a daily bag limit of 1 per day. Resident Canada goose hunting season. A federal framework allows for 77 days between December 1st and February 15th with a daily bag limit of 5 per day. Our recommendation is to hold the season for 50 days between December 1st and January 19th with a daily bag limit of 5 per day. Snow geese, the federal framework allows for 107 days between October 1st and March 10th and a daily bag limit of 25 per day. Our recommendation is to hold the season from October 1st to December 31st, 2025, and then February 26th to March 10th, 2026, and the conservation order would be open from March 11th to April 25th, 2026. The daily bag limit during the regular season would be 25 per day, and during the conservation order, 15 per day. For Atlantic brant, the federal framework allows for 30 days between September 23rd and January 31st with a daily bag limit of 1 per day. Our recommendation is to hold the season for 30 days between October 11th and November 9th with a 1 bird daily bag limit. For youth waterfowl hunting days, a federal framework allows for 2 days within 2 weeks of either end of the allowable hunting days. Our recommendation is to hold the youth season on September 27th and 28th. In the Waterfowl Hunters Survey, we asked when people preferred their opening day of duck season. In both the Lake Champlain and the interior Vermont zone, people preferred the season to open the first weekend of October, with the second weekend of October being a close second. We also asked hunters what month they preferred to have the most hunting days open. In both the Lake Champlain and the interior Vermont zone, hunters preferred to have the most days open in October, and then November, and followed lastly by December. Hunters preferred a split season in the Lake Champlain zone and a straight season in the interior Vermont zone. Across all zones, hunters overwhelmingly preferred to have their seasons end at the end of December. Using the survey results as a guide to fit within the federal frameworks of 60 days between September 21st and January 31st with a daily bag limit of 6 per day, the interior Vermont zone recommendation is to hold the season from October 11th to December 9th, which is a straight season, and in the Lake Champlain zone from October 11th to November 23rd, splitting and then reopening December 13th through December 28th. With a daily bag limit of 6 birds per day. For mergansers, we are allowed 60 days between September 21st and January 31st with a separate daily bag limit of 5 per day. Our recommendation is to mimic the duck season and have a separate daily bag limit of 5. Recommendation for the falconry season is to have it open at any time that species is currently open for regular waterfowl hunting. Setting waterfowl seasons is a long process, starting with a presentation to the board in February, followed by the initial approval by the board to allow for the public comment process to begin. Once that is started, we host 2 public hearings in March, and then based on the comments heard during the public meetings, those will be brought to the board for their final approval and a final recommendation in April. Then the commissioner has to sign off on the seasons, and then they have to be submitted to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service by April 30th, 2025, and posted in the Federal Register, and we can release the syllabus in August of 2025.